So real talk, vans are not always perfect. They usually get messy. It's been a couple weeks since I've washed it. So we're gonna try to get this thing cleaned up. See what happens. I'll show you guys the inside of it so you can see what it really looks like on a van that, you know, gets used. You know, I have a lot of good organization ideas in my van, but in all reality, they get dirty. So, you know, stuff gets thrown in, especially on Fridays when you're busy. You know, my parts shelf kind of disheveled up there. For the most part, it doesn't take too long to organize it up because everything kind of has a place. So, batteries everywhere, lights, my makeshift trash can. So we're gonna wash the outside real quick, get her pretty, and then organize the inside, get it cleaned up, try to take you along. I was watching, I don't know, I came across a video of some dude detailing his car and he had like some fancy foam cannon and started looking at it and all it was just a fancy coil gun. So I make sure that you clean it out really good because I don't know what's in the condenser coil cleaner that we use. I use this Simple Green cleaner, Simple Green Pro HD all-in-one cleaner degreaser. It says it's safe for cars if you use it at the recommended concentration. I won't use this on my personal car, but I'll use it on my work van. I'm sure it like strips off the waxes and different things. So, you know, use it at your own risk. But I've been using this for years and I've never had a problem. Okay, so when my van is clean, this is what it normally looks like. Okay, so when my van is actually clean, this is kind of what it looks like for the most part. Doesn't always stay like this, but because I have everything pretty organized, it usually doesn't get too bad. So keep miscellaneous stuff in here, deep sockets for the impact, an oil pump right here, you know, basic stuff, flaring block, there's an electrical fish tape down there. I bleed yellow, if you can't already tell. So this is the DeWalt stuff that I use on a regular basis. Miscellaneous meters, these are extra backup meters. I've got a bench meter here. This is a manometer. You know, just miscellaneous stuff that I keep in there. Dead blow hammer. Again, couple other things. It's an angle drill. It's a rigid one. I use that one because it's convertible. You can put on a drill head. You can put an impact on there. Works kind of nice. So it's not all DeWalt that I use. Miscellaneous pipe wrenches, tubing benders, you know, hammers. I've showed these things in my videos a couple times. These are really nice. This is a bristle brush for the Sawzall. The one that I use the most is the wire bristle brush. This one's a soft bristle, so I don't use this one as much. Found it at Lowe's. See if I can find the actual wire bristle. I think it's up here. No, not yet. Again, just miscellaneous stuff here. I probably need to organize this toolbox because there's some disorganization, but as you can see, I keep a lot of spare stuff, some spare tubing cutters, pinch off tool for working on the small systems that don't have service ports on them. Little stuff comes in handy. This is for doing lock nuts on electrical fittings. General little things that I use, screwdrivers, extra wrenches. Again, bristle brushes, some extra locks. Up here is my Appion vacuum hoses, core removal tools. Keep all my Appion stuff in there. It's got the MegaFlow vacuum manifold in there. Basically, I could do any kind of vacuuming on the systems that I need to do depending on the size. Right here is all my eye manifold stuff. There's an eye manifold in there, an eye connect, all the probes. It's embarrassing to say how much money is involved in that thing. Refrigerant cylinders, obviously. Field piece manifolds. I made this rack right here just out of garage door angle iron from Home Depot. This is all my fitting cases, you know, fuses, everything. Refrigeration copper, plumbing copper, electrical fittings, wire nuts, screws, copper fittings. Pretty much a little bit of everything in here. I keep 2 cases right here. You know, I just kind of try to organize my parts. This is all my ice machine parts, my more common parts. So there's Hoshizaki bend stat, Hoshizaki hot gas valve, Hoshizaki water valves. I know there's a Hoshizaki thermistor in here. I use the more common stuff. Manitowoc ice thickness probes. These are the microphone style. Manitowoc curtain switches. You know, just this is my ice machine box. Just the more common stuff. And then the most common refrigerator parts I work on are Delfield. Delfield's like the #1 thing, so I have a pretty good stock of my Delfield components that I use. Temperature controllers is like the #1 thing on the Delfields. That and refrigerant leaks. Start components, all that good stuff. This is just an extra Vito bag. This is my little everyday carry when I'm going on top of a roof where I know I'm not going to need a lot of stuff. I've just got a meter in there, flashlight, a brush to clean condensers, basic tools, 2 crescent wrenches, channel locks, needle nose pliers, wire strippers, dikes, 8-in-1. This is just my, you know, get up on the roof, diagnose bag. And then when I need the tools, I have my Vito backpack. It's loaded down. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's got just the basic stuff. I try to keep it minimal, but I also just, you know, have a certain purpose for every tool that I have in there. Move the Vito bag out of the way. This just kind of becomes a catch-all. I have a power inverter behind my seat so I can keep batteries charging all the time. I have a switch on it, so it's always a force of habit. I shut it off on the weekends because if I don't, for 2 days of not being in the van, it'll run the batteries down, or the battery down in the van, I should say. So it's currently turned off. I'll turn it on Monday morning and then it'll charge everything as I'm working throughout the week. It's interesting because if it's just for one night, I don't need to shut it off, the inverter. So during the week, it's no problem leaving it on, but just Friday night, I need to shut it off because come Monday morning, my van won't start. For that reason, I actually keep a little portable battery booster jump starter thing underneath my seat. One of those little tiny ones you can get at like Costco or Home Depot or whatever. Pretty handy. Obviously use the jet rack for my 6-foot ladder. Bring you guys around the other side. Pulled my cart and my 4-foot ladder out of here. Underneath here, I keep my rope, circular saw, again, DeWalt vacuum pump recovery machine. You see the DeWalt vacuum right there, DeWalt radio, a couple flashlights, field piece, jobbling probes, got a scale, torches, extra silicone. These little straps are really handy. I get them from Home Depot, especially when I'm working on the roof. If you don't notice, I have them through everything. Like there's one permanently on the torches. There's one permanently on my Vito bag. You see right there, there's one permanently on the recovery machine because that way I can rope everything up onto the roof. Roping it is so much easier. This is my chemical storage right here. Basically ice machine cleaners, all the different types, condenser coil cleaners, propylene, glycol, other, you know, condenser coil cleaners, degreasers, you know. This stuff, Taylor Lube. I don't work on the Taylor machines, but it's just a food grade silicone lubricant. Works really great on O-rings for ice machines. So whenever you're working on the ice machines, just lube up the O-rings. Or if you have a contact surface where it's difficult to get pieces together, this stuff is awesome because it's food safe. Yeah. I really don't use this thing anymore. This is the subcooler for recovery system, basically. And a CPS, whatever. They have some molecular transformators, I think is what they call it, or something. But it's just a subcooler, basically. But I have it in here just in case you work on a really hot day. Since I've really upped my recovery game with the Appion Megaflow kit, really haven't needed that anymore. Remove the cores, use the big hoses, use the Appion Megaflow manifold. You really don't have to have too many other means of too many other things to help you recover too fast if you follow those steps. Just generic cases here. The far left and the bottom right there is my socket set. On top of that is my R290 work kit. Just basically has R290 stuff in it. A couple tanks of refrigerant. There's a little chingus to hook up to the refrigerant. Right here on the bottom is my Yellow Jacket tubing bender. This right here is golden. This is my Sporlan TXV kit. I can make any of the TXVs that I use commonly. Balance port, or it is a balance port kit. I can make flare TXVs, sweat TXVs, all the way up to I think 3 tons, which is plenty big enough for me because I don't work on anything super big. R290 leak detector or combustible gas leak detector. Refrigerant dye kit for those rare instances. I rarely use it, but I have had to use it a few times, so I keep a little kit on there. Some various tapes up in the corner, hard hat, face shield. This is my fan blade puller, big giant one, whole saw kit, extra tapes. I kind of have some insulation, Armaflex, whatever you want to call it, up there for refrigerant lines, just kind of tucked back there so it doesn't get ruined. This is my little nitrogen bag. It has all my manifolds, regulators for nitrogen, MAP gas kit, leak detector. You see up in the top right here, I have LED lights hooked up into everything. These are just my truck stock parts, temperature controllers, the more common things. I try to keep it minimal because I don't want to carry too much stuff in my trucks anymore. I've basically cleaned out too many people's vans and found that there was excess parts in there, that thousands upon thousands of dollars of materials that weren't ever going to get used because they were truck raped and ruined. So we really keep it to a minimum now. For the most part, I have what I need, and I could do pretty much everything I need, you know. Extra condenser fan motors. These are, you know, just universal condenser fan motors, 3/4 to 1/3. Be honest with you, I don't even need a third because I usually don't work on anything that small. I don't know why I have that one, but I do. Generic walk-in condenser fan motors. Right here is just some wire. I've got some more wire down there. This is just the more common stuff I use. You know, SJ cord, warmer cable for walk-in freezer drains right here. Nitrogen, CO2. I got a couple belts back in here. These are my little rescue belts. I can make any belt size with these. There's a couple tucked back behind there. Seal tight conduit. Refrigerant copper, you know, it's really just a basic service van. Other than that, that's pretty much it. A couple recovery cylinders up there. That's pretty much all I need. Do it all. You know, 99.9% of the work that I do is restaurant refrigeration and HVAC. So I pretty much have everything that I need in here to do that kind of work.